Talking with the experts.
Hello. Hello, and welcome to Talking with the Experts. My name is Rose Davidson from rose-davidson.com. And Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners. And you can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And today my guest is Louise Hopkin. And we're going to be discussing how to help business owners declutter. And Louise is a professional home organiser trainer from the Space Reclaimers. And she serves those who are weighted down by a continuous cycle of clutter. She specialises in helping people learn the skill of decluttering and organising and really understand the reason behind the stuff that you are unable to let go of, which means massive shifts in being able to focus, live in the present and be highly creative. Welcome, Louise. How are you?
I am great, Rose. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really excited to talk about my favorite topic.
Terrific. Thank you for joining me. Now, I have a cluttered office. I just, use a bit of paper. I think, I'll file that away and then it gets piled up. What's the strategy for that?
File it. That's all. No, just kidding. and that's what a lot of us do. Hey.
Get off your butt. Yeah.
Get off your butt. Yes, exactly. But and you're not alone because a lot of us do that. So it's kind of the procrastination part of us, right? So I call that like the 3 Ps. We deal with a lot. So it's the procrastination, the productivity, and the perfectionism that stops us from decluttering. But when that happens, what we do is we create habits and routines. So that's really going to help you prevent you from putting that piece of paper down and say you do, but at the end of the night, you're going to do that 15-minute routine, right? At the end of the day, put everything away, have just what you're working on your desk. Because when you think about it, when you come into your office and you have a clean space, the desk is clear, you have just that one task, and you know what you're going to get started on for that day, it makes it so much easier, right? It's not as overwhelming.
Yeah. Good idea. Good idea. So what are the reasons that, that we collect clutter, basically?
Yeah, sure. So it's not just with the business, right? But if you're an entrepreneur, if you're working from home, I know everybody's kind of going through the either restrictions or the no restrictions. We collect stuff because of 6 top reasons. And that's what I've actually kind of came up with that acronym. Working as an organizer for 5 years, I really began to listen to people and wanted to understand what was behind all this reasoning. Why were we holding on? So the top one reason is R, retail therapy, E is emotions, A is assigned time, S is sentimental, make sure I can spell now, O is overwhelm, and N is no, we can't say it. And I find a lot of the time people will actually go, oh my gosh, I fall into like 3 of those categories or possibly more. And that's okay, because when we work together, and what I suggest, let's just work on the top 2 because it's too overwhelming, right? And then we just go through the steps and discover why we collect that clutter. So can you think of anything, Rose, when you heard that you sort of thought, I'm definitely one of those categories? Or
well, when we moved to Tasmania, we sold everything, and it broke my heart to give up a lot of the things that I either sold or gave away because I'd had them forever. It's a sentimental thing.
Yeah.
They either held a memory from a place I'd been, or my kids had played with it, or was their favorite video or CD or whatever it happened to be. But, I just made a hard decision that, I couldn't take everything that I wanted and bring it with me because there was just no room at my mother's house. So, but I just find my office is big because I work at home. My office is now becoming a little bit cluttered with stuff because it just makes me feel comfortable having, I've got 2 filing cabinets. The tops are chock-a-block full of plants because I love my plants. and my bookshelves have books on them. Obviously, that's what you do, but they have they've got folders on there that from my diploma of HR management that I did that course about 15 years ago, and I've still got the folders with all the assignments and everything in it. And I just don't want to give them away, and I don't know why that is.
That's actually really interesting, because that's one of the biggest ones I find, is that a lot of people hold on to their textbooks exactly the same as what you're doing, is because you spent either a lot of money going to that, learning that course on the textbooks. You spent many hours creating that thesis or what, the study. And also it's kind of a different part of your life, right? So it's like when we were younger, maybe a little bit more free, so we hold on to those sentiments. So what we need to do is really work through those, because if we start holding on to everything and thinking that our stuff is actually where the emotions are and the memories are, then we're never going to let go of anything, right? So right, it could be
Does
like
that
the
work
whole
for husbands?
yeah. Let me think about that one. That's a whole different subject. But yeah, so we have to remember that the memories are with us. They're not with the stuff. And it's really, really hard, I know. And I kind of call it like a layers game. So I say, start slowly, start with the simple stuff, and then work up to the next level and then the next level. And it does become easier, but it's a process, right? Like anything, but it does work.
Yeah, I keep thinking, because I have used some of the assignments and made, blogs or an ebook or whatever out of them, so that, I really don't, I just feel that I should keep them for some reason. I don't know why, but, they've been useful over time. I just don't understand why I keep them all the time. I mean, I could probably just chuck out the assignments and just keep the notes.
Right. But you just kind of distinguish that. So you've used them. So that makes a use for it. But when sometimes I have, clients, or what happens is that people will have these books stored in cardboard boxes, taking up space, and they haven't looked at them for years, or they've changed careers, and it's like, it's doesn't make any sense anymore, but you've actually used them. So there's a big difference there, right? If you're using something, then it's useful. And it falls into the category of, it's not really clutter, if you're going to use it.
Yeah, my daughter, she's a total book nerd, and she buys a book, reads it, and then she won't trade it for something else. And, she's got shelves and shelves and shelves full of books, and she treats them so well that you wouldn't think they'd even been read.
Oh, really? Hey, so they're like her pride and joy. And
oh, absolutely, yeah. She's and I couldn't possibly buy a book for her because she's probably already got it.
And is that in your home that she is?
No, that's in hers. So yeah.
Okay, so that's not so bad for you, right? Then you don't have
not so
to.
bad for me. But yeah. So as a business owner, I guess, how can people, like, one, declutter their business, and two, declutter their working environment?
Yes. Yeah. So really huge, right? And depending, again, like I say, some of us or a lot of us are working from home if we're entrepreneurs. So what happens is that we need to find that space for our work area, where, I don't know, a lot of us tend to, we have laptops, right? So we'll just sit at the kitchen table and have that and collect the clutter there. So really define a space if you can. I know it's not always easy, right? It depends on people's situations, but it's actually kind of where it starts to get, you can be creative. I've had some people that have made closets into really small offices, and it works quite well. Obviously you take the doors off. It can be a little tough, but just really defining that space as much as you possibly can. But also, even having a decluttered home, if you're constantly working in there too, is going to help allow for that creativity, right? Because when you have a cluttered home, the brain just goes fuzzy. And so just really making it a habit of going through and declutter. And your home office needs to be consistent. Like I said, do that 15-minute routine. And also, if you have an office that's already collecting clutter, what I suggest is that you break it down into tiny tasks. Okay, so when you look at your office and say you are overwhelmed, that's when you're just going to go, I'll do it later, or I'll deal with it another day. A lot of us are pretty good at doing that because it's not our favorite thing. I get it, right? There's not, I love doing it, but that's okay. So what you need to do is break it down to tiny tasks. You can even, if your desk is piled up with stuff, you can even just kind of start from left to right and just sort of do, okay, I have a pile of paperwork here. But what you need to understand and remember is that it's kind of going to be what I call the storm before the calm, because you need to have somewhere to sort the stuff into and then work your way through it. And then what I would do is try and go as paperless as possible. That's huge. And it's kind of easier these days too, right? So if you're getting the bills and things like that, try and go as digital as possible, get them emailed to you. But then you have that other trap of getting your digital clutter organized, right? But it's kind of, we're talking about the stuff that's lying around. And so it's easier to try and get that onto digital and then sort from there. And really just make it a goal. Hold yourself accountable, set a date, which is huge, right? Because a lot of people, if they don't set a date, I can see you smiling there, you're like, So if you don't set a date, it's like you can just keep putting it off and putting it off. And another really cool thing I say is say it out loud as well. So tell your friends, put it on social media that you're decluttering or you're organizing your office. And it just helps you kind of stay accountable for that too, right?
Tips, absolutely. Yeah, so what other things can you suggest? I mean, I know, the home, the office, there's so much. I mean, do you, decluttering, do you shove it in a box and put it on a shelf, or do you just, get rid of it altogether?
Yeah, so really great question. So what I suggest is I've created this 3-step clutter-free home method. And it sounds kind of easy, right? 3 steps, but it's not. It's doable, very doable. But what it is, it's a process. So the first step is to, as I said, recognize why you're collecting clutter so you can stop it. And then you create those rules and guidelines to stop you from bringing it into the home. And another way, so when you're decluttering, the first thing you need to do is have a space where you can actually put it in the meantime, so in the interim, right? So as I said, you can't do the decluttering straight away in one session unless you have 8 hours to dedicate to it, right? Which a lot of us don't. So if you want to do it in small, doable chunks, I call it, clear a space out and say, this is your boxes, and sort into categories. And that's going to be your keep, sell, donate, and toss. When I say sell, I'm always a little weary about that. I want people to really think about that category. Is it really worth your time to sell things? Putting it on Facebook when people don't turn up or they negotiate and you're spending time. So really value your time for that. And also what you can do is you can go to donation. So you've got the room set up, you've got the area, you've got your boxes. And then the other thing I suggest is contacting or discovering or know the donation places where you can take your electronics. I know it's a little different. I'm in Calgary, but we actually have the city of Calgary will do electronics recycling. And then we have the paper recycling, and then we have the textile recycling. So have a plan. That kind of takes a little bit of time, but once you know where you're going to take things, what time they're open, makes it easier, right? So you now have your boxes full of, like, say it's textiles, put it in the car, load it up, and just go. And you know exactly where you're going. And then what you need to do is also, so we've now got that step. So we're now got our categories, go really high level. So I know there's a lot of different kind of ways of organizing there, but I'm about high level to start with, because 2 reasons. It saves you time, and it also saves when you pick up something, you're like, I just don't know what to do with it. And then the memories, you go down memory lane. And then what happens is 3 hours later, you go, oh my gosh, I haven't got anything done, right? So we're trying to avoid that. So what we do is we do high level. And so you go through really quickly your first instinct, and you're allowed to have a maybe pile. I should say that as well. Sorry. Have your maybe pile. And then what you do is you go back again. So it kind of seems like a little bit of double handling, but the thing is you're going through it really quick. So go back through it. And then the second time will probably take you a little bit longer because you're dealing with those tougher decisions. If you have items that, see if friends want them, relatives want them, and then a lot of us feel happier knowing that someone's going to take it, right? So that's how you work through that process. And then now that you've gone through and you've got everything in your categories, you've taken it away, it makes it so much easier to actually organize, right? Because you don't have much stuff. And then you have a place for everything. So I always say decluttering is the basis of organizing. So the second step that I talk about is to release. So that's what we talked about. And then the third step is habits and routines. So if you've gone through all this hard work, right, and you've done all this hard work, you've made the tough decisions, habits and routines is going to help you maintain it. And that's the easy part. But a lot of us kind of get carried away and think, that's going to be really hard. I don't have time to maintain it. But you really do. And I teach that just in 15 minutes a day, you can maintain that. It's changing those habits and routines, right? So yeah, so that's kind of the process there. I know it seems a lot involved, but that's
a simple process. You just need to stick at it. However, what about, the times when you've said, oh yeah, I'll get rid of this thing. And then, 5 days later or something, oh God, I threw that out.
Yeah. So that's the what if, or I hold on to it in case I need it kind of thing. And and you know what? There's a really good rule for that. And what you can do, I don't know if you know the minimalists or not, but they have this 20-20 rule. So if it's less than $20 and it's less than 20 miles to drive for it, then it can go. So if you do kind of go, oh, I should have kept that. And if it falls into that category, it's not so bad to go back and get it, which seems a little kind of counterintuitive. But what we're doing is we're learning how to let go, and we're getting into that practice. Is there something that you've let go and then you kind of went, oh, I wish I hadn't have done that later? Or
yeah, I have, I've got and I'm thinking, because I've got a filing cabinet drawer full of old electronics and cords and all sorts of things. I think, yep, I'll use those one day. And, they've been in there for 20 years.
Yeah, okay.
And I think, oh my God, I really, it's too much to go through because, I just don't want to give them up. I've got I don't know, just CDs and all sorts of things. And I guess I'm a bit of a hoarder.
So I can see you even just now, you're kind of like, when you talk about it, you're quite attached to it and you're like, but what if I don't need, what if I do need it? And that's where that's the process, right? Because you just said it, I haven't used it in 20 years. So you need to give yourself a timeline, and you have to be ready to do it too, right? So for the tougher ones, so maybe you can go through those electronics, pick some things that are easy. I'm not sure if you have like an old, say a DVD player in there or something, or something, maybe it's not that, but just something that you can go, okay, I know I can definitely get rid of this. I don't need this. So this is where I'm saying, start with the easier ones and then work your way through it. So it's taking up valuable real estate. Is it causing you stress? Is it causing you anxiety when you think about it? You have to kind of look at the end goal, and just say that if I clear the space, I will feel calmer and I'll be able to focus. And because it's really not doing any good for your energy, right? Being in your home.
No, it's out of sight, out of mind, so I don't really think about it.
That's actually.
I'm looking for a drawer that I could, put something in there, but
Right. And that's another one too. Out of sight, out of mind is huge, because that's what I always talk about. But is it really out of sight, out of mind? Because you're thinking about it, it does come to your mind. So you don't realize it still sits there and you think about it. Perhaps your office is looking quite crowded. And even though you think, wow, I don't really need that space. But imagine if you could really thin that area out, how great that would feel. And another reason for that is that when everything would have a place then, right? So when everything has a place, and when you can find it easily, I should say, it saves you time as well, right? And it saves you money because you're not buying duplicate items. And because as a business owner, how much time do we spend looking for items? And I know I had a statistic that I think every day we spend, we look for at least 9 items a day. So if as a business owner, if we were to calculate that to what our hourly wage was or cost, how much money that is every day, every week, every year. So being able to find things easily, to pull it out easily and put it back, it's more likely to go back in that spot that you've designated for it. Yeah. So now I'm challenging you.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty good about stuff like that, except paperwork. Filing has always been the least favorite of any job I've ever had. And I usually just let it pile up. I hate filing. I just hate it with a passion.
I get that totally. And it's, what, I've been an admin assistant for I don't know how long as well. And it was never my favorite thing either. But that's when you have to change your mindset and just say, let's do it. And at the end of the day, I know it sounds easy, but at the end of the day, do that 15 minutes. Because now what's happening is you're looking at that pile and you're going, oh my gosh, I don't want to spend 2 hours doing that, right? So it's like, that's like, you're thinking maybe more, but if it, and that's the thing. So do it in small chunks, give yourself a month and say, I'm going to do this for whatever you choose, right? But make sure it fits into your schedule. Say 2 to 3 days a week or every day for 10 minutes. That's pretty doable, right? You think every day for 10 minutes?
Yeah. Doable.
Yeah, right. So it can be done. We just have to set our mind to it and just really set that date for us and see the huge benefits and set a goal for ourselves.
Good idea. It's doable and it's not hard. And you're right about the mindset, because I'm looking at the pile and I think, I should get round to that. And the next day comes and I should do that. And then it never gets done. And then I look for a bit of paper that I know that's, I look for a bit of paper that I know that's in there, but I've got to go and search. It's probably at the bottom.
Yes, always, right? Or it's way across the room. So, and that's what happens is when I work with people, I find it, I had one lady who called me the devil and the angel on her shoulder, which was quite hilarious. And she was like, when she was going shopping or something, it's like, she had me on her shoulder saying, now remember, do you need this? Do you love it? And then the angel was there for support, for accountability. So I thought that was kind of a neat little idea. But
that's a good idea.
Yeah, right. I could be the devil and the angel.
Any final words of advice, Louise?
You know what? If you need to, reach out for help. If you just need a friend who would help you, although I would say be wary of that too. Make sure that you would work well together, but reach out for help. Join Facebook groups. I have a Facebook group who loves to organize, and just that support and really setting a goal. And that's what it's about. And just think about it. As I said, if you're looking for 9 items a day, how much time that's taking up for you. And you could be spending that in your business and creating, more abundance and just really being more creative and getting more clients. So and definitely reach out for help and ask.
Yeah. And have you written any books on the topic yet?
No, I haven't actually. I've done a lot of workshops. So I do have webinars and workshops, that kind of thing. But I haven't written a book yet. So I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
What about a podcast or something like that?
I do. Yes. Sorry. Thank you. I do have a podcast. So it's Inspiring Calm. And so basically it's, we talk about tips and discussions and strategies on how to really let go of the clutter. And it'll be all different kind of topics. And I interview amazing ladies as well that will help with an all-round well-balanced life as well.
Perfect. And where can people find you, Louise?
Yeah, so I have website, thespacereclaimers.ca. I also have, as I said, my Facebook group, Who Loves to Organize, where we do challenges and workshops, and on Instagram at The Space Reclaimers.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much for inspiring me to clean up my basket of paperwork.
Excellent. I'm going to be in touch with you in, let's say, 2 weeks and see how you're going with it.
That'd be great. All right, Louise, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you. And yeah, it is inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Rose. I really appreciate it.